They cowboyed him in the steam room. Is this cherry-ass Gio the towel boy? Mother Gillig, old auntie of Westminster Place. Only dead fingers talk in Braille. The Mississippi rolls great limestone boulders down the silent alley. Distant rumble of stomachs, poisoned pigeons rain from the northern lights. Have you seen Tennepon Rose? Have you seen Tennepon Rose? The gangster in concrete rolls down the river channel. Have you seen Tennepon Rose? Have you seen Tennepon Rose? The Mississippi rolls great limestone boulders down the silent alley. Have you seen Tennepon Rose? Have you seen Tennepon Rose? Old Addie of Westminster Place. Only dead fingers talk in Braille. Have you seen Tennepon Rose? Have you seen Tennepon Rose? Distant rumble of stomachs, poison pigeons rain from the northern lights. Pigeons rain from the northern lights. Have you seen Tennepon Rose? Have you seen Tennepon Rose?
Hello, welcome everybody to the monthly share. It's our first ever episode of our brand new Artie Chat Show, brought to you by the people from Hibernation Festival of the Lo-Fi, which we've just had a big season of, and we thought we would kind of continue the fun with a monthly show, getting interesting people on to talk about interesting creative things they've been doing. The idea is not for us to hear about finished pieces, but instead we want to hear about the little kind of aha moments that people have had, questions, queries, setbacks, unexpected discoveries, all the behind the scenes stuff of a creative person's art practice. So it's going to be great. We're going to have this same weekend on a Sunday at 4 p.m. every month for the next 8 months. And we have some great people who are our, in general, Hibernation curators, including Liam Mulligan, Sian, Lindsay, Dio Lloyd, Maddie Briggs, Lachlan Foster, and myself, Damian Barbeler, plus special guests coming in again to talk about all those behind the scenes creative things we've been up to. So it's going to be really fun, interesting, and kind of keep the home fires burning in the Hibernation household. So without any further ado, let me kind of bring in my co-hosts for this week, which is Liam and Sian. Hello, you are.
Good morning.
Hello.
This is very nice for me because always at the end of Hibernation, I kind of feel relieved and exhausted. Okay, relieved and exhausted, but also sad because, of course, we work so closely together to bring this Lo-Fi festival. You think, oh, that's over, even though I'm really happy about that because I'm exhausted. So it's nice to have this little thing. Now, I have to say, you guys did the lion's share of the curating work, and we're going to have a chance to chat with Dio later on about all of what happened in the festival. But I think that, before we don't want to use up too much of that stuff. So, look, I just really want to get into kind of some of our chats because we only have an hour today. We have no idea whether that's enough. But let me just ask you first, though, Liam, have you recovered? Have you got some sleep since hibernation?
I have gotten quite a good amount of sleep. I'm back into university brain, which is great and very focused, but very good.
Unibrain.
Unibrain. TM. Yeah, it's I've had definitely enough sleep. I've had a good couple of weeks without having to without having to build on Minecraft. It doesn't mean I haven't been building in Minecraft, but it's been good. It's been good to catch more sleep and all that sort of stuff. It's been great.
Great. And Sian, you've been all right? You've been catching up on some sleep and back into uni?
Yeah, well, I've actually finished my undergrad, so I've got
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of a break. I think I will go back and study, but I'm going to take maybe a year to figure out what I'm going to study. So yeah, but like since hibernation finished, the world of Sydney has kind of been opening up again. So it's almost like, it's been go a little bit.
Does that mean you're going to be able to get your hands back on the modular synth at the conservatorium again soon, or have you actually had that in your possession again?
No, I didn't have it in my possession because so for the first lockdown I was able to take it home with me because it wasn't going to be used.
Yeah.
But yeah, this lockdown I haven't been a student, so I haven't had one.
Of course.
Yeah. But, I'm working towards getting my own system, which will be fun and a lot of money.
How is that going?
I'm just starting out to think about. I've got a friend who's got a modular system himself, and he's very generous, and he's said I can borrow it whenever I want. So I'll probably have a play around on his to see what modules I like and kind of start planning what exactly I'm going to get.
Awesome.
But yeah, super generous. It's super lucky to have someone willing to lend me their modular, because I think because it's quite a personal thing and quite expensive, it's rare to find someone who's willing to do that.
All right, well, we'll have a chance to ask you more about that sort of stuff a little bit later. But first, just to kind of break the ice, we're going to have our first segment, which is called What Have You Not Done This Week? And which depends on how you say it, doesn't it? It could be what have you not done this week? But actually it's what have you not got around to doing this week? So Liam, you're first, mate. What have you not got around to do this week?
Hibernation has been very busy. And as a result, how I am also a university student, I'm a bit behind on my university studies and practices and writing and all that sort of stuff, and I would like to catch up, but also I've been spending a lot of my time kind of getting sun, because it's been a great week for sun, also a great week for rain, but also a really good week for sun this week.
Let's have a look. We've got some pics of you getting sun with the cat.
Yep.
There it is.
And there's also a picture of the cat getting sun.
Cat showing the way.
Yep. You can't see the image, Sean, but I've got Jess literally you know how cats kind of sleep on their side sometimes?
Yeah.
Jess was on her back in the sun, full on
Oh, that's cute.
No, it was really good.
We need a bit of cat time, I think.
We need a bit of cat time. Yeah.
But look, it's very good that you've not done your thesis, because that is basically you actually have an excuse. Most master's students don't have a reason for having not done their thesis, but you at least have a good excuse, so you should feel okay. And Sian, what about you? What have you been meaning to do and not got around to this week?
So much. Yeah, I don't know. I think having just finished my undergrad this year, I was working on a pretty big project for that. So I've been putting off thinking about what's next. So I've not done that. And, I've been doing a lot of babysitting. I've been
Uh-huh.
doing a lot of like trying to find. I don't want to go back to hospitality now that things are open again. So thinking about what other kind of job I want, and just in a very like crossroads moment. So I've not done a lot.
Well, you know, there are very few times in our lives when we do have like nothing on. And
Yeah.
it's funny that we try to rush headlong onto the next thing. My son Felix is about to finish HSC, and he goes into that lovely stage between school and uni where you have no assignments.
I remember that stage. It was like purgatory.
Yeah.
Purgatory.
That's how I saw it. Oh man, I did nothing. I literally did nothing. I think I lost so much muscle mass because I used to walk a lot around school and stuff. And I just spent like that following 6 months doing nothing.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at now. And you feel so guilty. Like, you should like I feel like I should be embracing it because it's not going to be forever and it's kind of nice to have a relaxing period, but I'm also just like I constantly feeling guilty about it.
You shouldn't. That's the thing. How
weird.
to be in the moment. How to be in that moment. I don't know.
Yeah.
Damian,
Yes.
has there been something that you've not done this week?
Well, actually, there was something that I was not doing, and then unfortunately for this show, I did it yesterday, which is
Damian, you've broken the concept already. And it's episode 1.
I know, it's terrible. I've been making speakers. I made yesterday speaker stands for my new speakers. I'm not going to flex it. My new speakers, I realized, okay, that for all of my life, I had been making do with crappy gear, and I do legitimately need good gear to mix. And so I recently bought, like, as they say, the speakers that will see me out, which is a fairly macabre phrase. But
Will they be the same speakers at your funeral?
yeah, that's right. I'll be buried with them. All right. So anyway, look, it's the time we've all been waiting for. It's time for the monthly share part 1, everybody.
Yeah. So I guess it's me this first round, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh boys.
So one of the things we're going to do on the monthly share is return and kind of give updates to what's been going on in major projects. And because Liam, you've got your major master's work on, so let's start with that. Can you just give us the kind of like I don't know, I feel like it would be conventional to go and give us the summary of what it's all about. How about we start more with like, was there like one starting point that led you to this master's thesis thing, and we'll let what it is unfold as we go.
Sure. So back in the year of 2018, I, along with the at the time students group by the name of Concert Project, they're no longer a student group now because they're all graduated and stuff. But in 2018, we did a series of concerts. I don't know, a series of works. They were all electroacoustic that we put into a concert called Electroject, I think. Well, I think we gave it a more professional name, but Electroject was the working title at least. And Adam and I were the people in charge of that. Adam Melzer, sorry. Very big fan of the Hibernation Festival, a very good friend of the Hibernation Festival at that too.
Hello.
Hello to Adam, if you're watching. And Adam and I thought, as cool as having a full concert of electroacoustic works would be, it's probably better to have some sort of, non-musical element to make it a bit more engaging for the viewer. So I had the lovely job of making a grand total of 22 plus 13 plus 6 plus 6 minutes of video footage, which was great fun. It was a lot of work, but it was great fun.
Yeah.
And the thing that I noticed was how synchronous a lot of people wanted things to be, except for another friend of the Hibernation Festival, Lachlan Foster, who we will be seeing throughout these episodes. And he had a piece called Ashfall, and he had this for the concert, and his general wanting for the visuals was, it's up to you. Which
Okay,
is
nice.
dangerous because, firstly, I have a very funky mind when it comes to being able to put my own take and spin on things. So that was actually the very first time I tried not synchronizing things. And that was a slippery slope that led into my honours thesis, which one Damian Barbeler was my, what do they call it, supervisor?
Supervisor, yeah.
Supervisor, yes. That's how we really kind of met. And I mean, we met years ago, but like from person to person instead of like teacher to classmate.
So we became aware of our common artistic interests.
Yes, it was good fun. And I said, yo, Damian, I don't like it when the music and the visuals line up all the time. And then we had a long 6-week discussion of this. Just trying to find the right word.
Can I add? Well, in part, it was getting you off your thesis being just Liam saying why he hates it when things are synchronous all the time into something more akin to a kind of an academic tone, you know.
Yes. Hates is apparently not an academic word, apparently. But yeah, the word that we came up with...
Why I dislike those morons who keep on having synchronous elements in their visuals for their sound.
They should try not doing such. That's all I'd hand in. Now I get first class, get the university medal. No. And the word that we discussed and thought best fit was the word counterpoint.
Yeah.
Which was just perfect because you have in regular like Baroque music counterpoint, if you think about it in the most gridlocked, strict counterpoint contrapuntal method, is that there are things that happen sometimes at the same time, but then there are bits where they don't. And it just evolves to and fro. And it's really great that counterpoint can do that because we can also put it in every other world ever. But the thing was, that kind of wasn't enough because as much as it is to see time as a linear method through music, aka we start at 0 seconds, we end at 30 seconds, and in visuals where we start at 0 seconds and we end at 30 seconds, there's no harmony in visuals. So one would think. I did a lot of research into something called cross-sensory correspondences, which is our brain's ability to compare for example, the whiteness of a visual and the highness of a pitch, and go, okay, they naturally correspond. And there's been too many research articles in which I have read a lot and still have not read them all.
So this is just, let me just interrupt,
of course,
just to kind of lay out one of the important factors here is we're talking about things that are almost universal in the mind of humans, associations. These are not associations that change because of gender or race or upbringing. These are like scientifically tested, reliable correlations when someone sees that this color. So it's not even synesthesia either, which is odd permanent connections between taste and sound or something.
There's actually been a really good article I've read recently. How I don't know if you've heard of the Booba and Kiki thing.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Have you heard, Sean? So basically, it's like if you think of like a blobby shape where it's like everything's like kind of like curved and circled and stuff, and it's like a circle, but like there's blobs. But then you have one that's like really spiky. Would the spiky one be Booba or Kiki?
Kiki. I think I have heard of this. Yeah.
So 98% of people
Kiki.
agree with you.
Yeah.
98% of people also say, regardless of their upbringing, their age, what language they learnt, what language they speak, say that a lemon tastes fast in that same respect of Booba and Kiki.
Like Thursday is the same as November.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah,
Really?
people say Thursday is November. And
Really?
to me that makes sense.
I've never heard this.
Yeah.
I'm going to write this down.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do your thesis because we're doing it right now live on air.
Thursday equals November.
Yeah, there's more as well.
I've written that down. I'm now scared to look down that line and find 50 things that disprove what I currently have.
Well, also,
Does that make sense?
I'll have to look into it.
Well, high pitch corresponds to up and stuff like that. Doesn't like we actually physically imagine it. We can't make ourselves if we're in a room hearing a high note, we can't make ourselves think that the high note is down low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did was go, but what if I did that regardless? So instead of just like having a work where everything is synchronous or a work where everything is asynchronous, I have aspects where they are obviously together, but then they start to shift apart and gel together and intertwine like a contrapuntal relationship between two melodic lines.
Yeah.
Now here's part 2 of the story, because that was my honors thesis. I got the mark back. It was cool. I went after our very first season of the Hibernation Festival. It was actually July 13th, the day after our first season finished. I remember the date. Gabby and I went on a holiday to a place in Wollongong. We had an Airbnb, and it was really nice. And it was like one little room. There was like a kitchen and a bathroom, and it was all like one room, except the bathroom was obviously in a different room, thankfully. And everything seemed to correspond. Like there was like a nice kind of lavender sort of smell in the bathroom, and the soaps were cool. And Gab and I finished dinner on the first day. I think we did Uber Eats or something. That doesn't really matter. And we went to wash our hands at the same time. Gab got to the kitchen, so I went to the bathroom. And it astounded me that in a very white bathroom, with a very shiny dark floor, like a white toilet, white tiles, like a window that was very bright because it was sunset, that I would wash my hands with blood orange soap.
Oh.
Right.
It confused the hell out of me. And that was the moment where I realized that my research into cross-sensory correspondence was not done.
Uh-huh.
Because I literally walked around, and if Gabby can tell you, the rest of that week, whenever, like, you know, one of us was having a break, I would walk around with the different soaps, because it wasn't just like blood orange. There was like lime in the kitchen, and there was another one in the laundry, and there was another one somewhere else, and all that sort of stuff. I would literally wash my hands walking around our Airbnb, probably scaring Gab, hopefully not. Smelling my hands and looking and all that sort of stuff. So that's like the general context as to why I am building a table with a series of fabrics on it and writing music in correlation to it.
Let me just show that slide of that table.
Yep.
So I'm showing that. Do you want to talk through
this is called the audio table. It is an experiment into audio tactile counterpoint and multidisciplinary art in the first place. I am investigating the potential of musical pitch and timbre in reference to particular types of roughnesses. For example, I have silk, I have sandpaper, I have smooth wood, grooved wood, checked wood. I have canvas, I have silk with bits underneath.
Yeah.
So I have a variety of different types of textures. And the table itself rotates. Which is the thing that's killing me at the moment, because I still have to learn how to do that in the first place.
Now, also, Sian, I should fill you in that all week when Liam and I have been talking to each other, we've been having our usual creative conversations, except then we'd go, no, this is content. We can't talk about this, including that I sent Liam an SMS 2 days ago, which he has now learnt, and he purposely did not read it. Because I was thinking about his problem of the rotating table. So now I'm going to read to you live.
Before I do that, I'm going to give that final step to correlate things.
Yeah.
I have bought a starter kit that most 12-year-olds would get in their early lifetime. There it is. I'm not sponsored by brand. But it is a giant, and it scares me every time I open it, because I open it and I get that like gust of wind when you open something.
Yeah.
And the smell. Into something called the Arduino.
Right.
Oops, I've gone invisible.
Oh.
And within here, there are motors and gadgets and things that will teach me how to use an Arduino. And my experiments here are to connect this to Max MSP so I can actually control these at a particular voltage and level and all that sort of stuff. So this is my let me learn hardware phase. And it's terrifying because there's so much in here. Yeah, phase, you know, it's always a phase. So yeah, this is what I've been up to. I haven't really built much of it yet. I've still got a lot of experimentation to do before I build the table. I also don't know how to build anything, which is also another scary thing. But yes, that's my monthly share. Hope you've enjoyed.
Yeah,
Well, see, that's the
nice.
other thing. I'm seeing Liam buy like big packages of things. So then I started to go, oh no, like, because you really can spend a fortune as soon as you start doing builds, right? Okay, so quickly, before we move on, here's what I sent him a picture of a thing which is like an analog DMX lighting box. And what you can do is you can send MIDI information from your computer into the DMX lighting box. I can't show that. And you can control any powered device in your house using MIDI. So Dio and I did this last year when he was in lockdown. He was in Bondi and he was using his theremin, sending the MIDI data from his theremin via the internet to my computer and controlling my vacuum cleaner with his theremin.
That's so cool.
So it would go,
That's insane.
we're going to do that as a stage act at some point, but it was
I'm
great.
so excited for that.
So I realised
Count me as an audience member.
Yeah, that's basically what Liam's trying to do. Exactly the same rig.
Yeah.
Exactly the same rig. So anyway, just quickly, I wrote, forgive me my sticking my nose in, was music about controlling motors. You gonna need a big motor with high torque to run a rotating table that stops and starts with any kind of controllability because of inertia. I realised you could use an analog dimmer like my one for a brushed motor, which is an analog motor, or if it's a digital brushless motor, you can use your Arduino to send the data because they have 3 cables, because they run on pulse width modulation. But you couldn't run the power out of the Arduino because you would need a proper big power supply to run a big enough motor.
Rock and roll.
So there you go, some learning for all of us there, kids. I think there's something in that for all of us.
Yeah.
Look, let me just ask a couple of quick why questions. Sian, you may also like to ask Liam why. You've told us the tactile thing. What is it with tactile at the moment? There's a tactile thing going on. We know Matthias Shakarnet has got his rotating percussion instrument. I mean, me and my mate Tim Jedis have been doing stuff with paper and more paper and more paper, all this tactile stuff. Have you noticed this too, Sian? Like everyone's got this tactile thing going on.
Yeah. I'm also like that.
God, okay. So what's going on, do you
I
think?
mean,
Liam?
there's also the kind of ASMR pleasure thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's also like seeing crunching and stuff. Like there's that particular type of sand at the moment. I don't know if you've been seeing these sorts of videos, Sean or Damian, where like people like have like really perfectly like half cylindrical spoons and they go.
Yeah.
And it's the idea, I guess, of, multidisciplinary, hearing tactile things happen, or like phantom experiencing things. Whereas, I don't know, it's weird because, especially at the moment, where sometimes we can't experience tactility, especially in the years of 2020 and 2021, in public settings and installations and, interactive exhibits. And I guess it's that kind of feeling of like, I don't know, it's weird because you normally would expect to touch everything, but when you can't touch something, it actually quite bothers you. I don't know if you've noticed, John, have you noticed that? Like I currently am right now holding a lovely piece of sandpaper that you guys can't touch. What are your thoughts on that?
That doesn't bother me because like the feeling of sandpaper like is like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. Like, but I know what you mean. Like other things, like slime videos, they're quite
Yeah.
at the moment, and I get bothered. I'm like, I want to touch that. So I know what you mean.
Does it appeal to the kid in all of us? Because when you're a kid, you want to grab everything.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And then we become these superior conceptual beings, and we spend a lot of time on the internet too. Part of my theory is that it's related to the nostalgia that is why they have like old wooden ladders and rusted stuff in cafes. Is there's this sort of nostalgia for a kind of a comforting time that never was, and part of that comfort is kind of like the blankie on the cheek. It's sort of this impersonal online world, and it's causing us to be more aware of what we've lost. That's my theory, anyway.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, Liam, thank you for introducing us to the initial starting point for your tactile, whatever
Auditory
that thing is.
Audio table. Before we do go into the next section, though, I do have a comment from Lamorna. Lamorna Nightingale says, "What do lavender smells in the bathroom sound like?"
Oh.
I haven't done a lot of research into smell yet, which I know I did do a stream in smell. That was also very much an experiment. But if you think of what the bathrooms perceptively are a brighter pitch, so you'd expect a higher sort of pitch. And lavender has like a sort of smooth, but like, I guess slightly grainy smell, right?
Yeah, so that's a Dorothy Dixer from Lamorna. She wants you to say flute.
Yeah.
There's your answer then.
Flute.
A pitch, maybe a C sharp 5.
Oh, yeah,
with maybe a little bit of flex tone.
Flex. The perfect pitch guy. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Liam. I look forward to next kind of update and digging into it even more deeply in future. Thank you so much. Man. We're going to get like 4 or 5 goes at hearing you talk about this, and so I'm really looking forward to really digging down deeper into that. All right. So now we're just going to have a little bit of sorbet again. We're going to do our next segment, which is called "Have You Not Finished That Yet?"
So, Damian, since you have brought up, would you like to start with something that you may have not finished yet?
I think you know very well what I have not.
I mean, I know because I was at the very class.
Yeah, we were discussing it on Thursday night, and Lachlan Foster said, Damian, I know one, because I thought, well, there's just too many, and he said to me, I in that class, because I taught those guys in first year, which is a long time ago now, and I remember they remembered me talking about the book Dark Emu, which is Bruce Pascoe's book, Dark Emu. If I get my fingers there, it'll help it show. There it is. Dark Emu. Bruce Pascoe's book, which is about dispelling all of the myths about settling in Australia. Principally what it does is it takes primary sources to show that Indigenous people had permanent primary residences all across Australia that they lived in, and that they weren't just nomadic people walking around and every now and then leaning on a stick on one leg, that the whole thing was made up as a political excuse by England. And actually, I've learnt more about that recently. It's a very interesting topic. I've continued to investigate it. The reason crime was so bad in England at the time was because of the Industrial Revolution, because machines were taking over people's jobs. People had no work. They were starving and they were stealing. Plus, huge numbers of immigrants coming into England. And so a lot of the people who came to Australia were Canadian, Irish, Scottish, Italian, Spanish. So it's a fascinating thing to see how history is repeating itself with Brexit, by the way. They just don't have a colony to send people to. So anyway, I was really angry because, of course, I was the next generation, and there are periodic generations of Australians who learned that everything we were taught in school was a lie about the takeover of Australia and Indigenous people not having permanent homes. So anyway, I was angry, but I was using it as an example in class of how I didn't know how to write an artwork about it because I felt like I now knew too much. And in fact, I considered giving up landscape art altogether. How many years ago would that have been? 5 years, 6?
Well, you showed us that the 2016. So that was 5 years ago.
Okay.
Probably today. I mean, not today, but like it was because like this semester.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we've
I
been
know-
around
and,
this time.
and politics was week 8. So and this is week 9. We
Yeah.
finished week 9.
Yeah,
So
first years. So anyway, look, I have still not finished that piece to do with being angry about Dark Emu. But the good news is, and I will be telling about this piece coming up soon, I am starting a project
good.
that is where I've worked it all out, how to do it. It's a wonderful project coming up.
Did
but
you-
I'm not talking about that one today.
Okay, very good. Very good then. Okay.
It's such an anti-segment. Here's what
Nice invite.
Sian, what have you not finished yet? Have you got an album not out yet, or something?
Yes. So actually, like relating to my background here, I created a work that was based off some poetry. I've probably spoken about it a few times before, based off poetry that my sister wrote about my mum's upbringing. Now, the work is kind of finished. There's definitely chunks in it that I want to change.
Yeah.
But my goal was to have early this year, so I didn't reach that goal. But I wanted to have it mixed, mastered, fix all the things that I didn't like about it, and like published properly. Have my own website sorted. Try to get it played on radios because often I finish a work and then it kind of just like gets
Sits there.
forgotten about.
Yeah.
But this time I was like, I put in a lot of effort, so I want to kind of
Share it.
I mean,
do it
I feel your
properly.
pain because when it's about to go out there, you kind of go, "Oh, do I need to master it one more time?" And you need access to decent speakers and
yeah.
Oh,
So
well.
I've kind of done things, I've got a draft of a website. I know who I'm going to get to mix and master it.
Yep.
So, I've done little things, but, I'm a
Wonderful.
bit like, I had a goal to have that done like in the first half of this year
Yeah.
and still not even close.
Well, you did come and do Hibernation, so that kind of, set a
Yeah.
cat amongst a certain number of pigeons, probably. Liam, what have you not finished yet?
I mean, apparently it's finished.
Uh,
That's how I'm going to start it.
uh-huh.
After honors, which was in 2019.
No, first of all, can you just tell us what it is so we get to say,
Oh,
have
sure,
you
sure,
not
sure,
finished that yet?
I am sitting on a 15 to 20 minute rhythm based pop EP.
Have you not finished that yet?
There you go.
You seriously haven't finished that?
Yeah, it's been
on.
2 years in the running. I finished all the works, I think, 18 months ago, and I've been mixing for almost 2 years.
Oh,
So it's one of those like passion projects, and I'm really, really scared to release it because, I mean, I know like genre shouldn't be a thing, and there's a lot of like discussion onto like putting yourself in a box and all that sort of stuff. But this is so weirdly different. But it's also something I'm hyperly like passionate about
yeah,
in the ways in which we can take complex rhythms into simple contexts.
yeah.
So it can be like more easily ingested and not even understood, but like, experienced. So I have a bunch of works that are in like 9/16 or 36/16, whatever you want to call it.
Alright.
And things I'm really happy with that I've constructed, and I've got like really good like modulations that go from like 11/16 to like 12/8, which sounds like really really destructively drunk stuff, and then it goes into a nice light jazz groove, and like
Uh-huh.
that kind of stuff. But I'm just so scared because I every time I listen back to it, and I guess this is the pedantic masterer,
Uh-huh.
where I go, okay, that frequency isn't quite what I want it to be. It needs to be a bit up in average. The 3,000 things a bit tingy, all that sort of stuff. So
Well-
I mentally I have not finished it yet. Lachlan disagrees.
Oh, he thinks it's done. Okay.
Lachlan thought it was done 6 months ago.
Well, the thing I didn't tell you that this show is in part a a home for incurable putter-offerers, and so what we need to do, we're going to make a pact that all of us are going to finish that thing and release it sometime on air on this show.
On air, live.
That's a
It's
good
going to be
idea.
like, here it is, launch the album, launch the other album, launch the Dark Emu thing that I haven't told you what it is yet.
Some comments from the audience. Lamorna says, "What does finished even mean?"
Yeah, that's it.
True, but if we actually accept that, then we really get to never finish anything ever. Like that's just Lamorna. That's just the excuse that they need.
And then Ben Carey said, "It's just release it, bruh. Then make some more."
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you, Ben.
That's true, Sean. I mean, but Ben is your teacher, so he's a wise man, and he has released a lot himself. So I know that he would be a man he would be very interesting to chat on the show, actually, because we could ask him about his early releases and how he feels about them, because I'm sure that he's been through. I mean, the man knows a lot. He knows a lot, but he must have learnt it at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm just further reading the comments, and Lamorna says, "Let it go," and then Ben replied to that saying, "Okay, Elsa."
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. So I don't have Dyer. Do you want to SMS Dyer, because we want him to come on and say
I'll chuck him a meso.
Chuck him a message. If he doesn't come on, that's okay. We can do Hibernation another day. But now we're going to do like monthly share part 2, which is we're going to ask Sian a few questions. Sian, you ready?
I'm so ready.
You ready? I'm playing the slide now.
Right.
The monthly share part 2. We're sharing. So Sian, what did you want to share? What have you been working on this month?
Well, I have a friend who is a very clever animator, and he sent me a Google Drive of a whole bunch of different animations that he's done. Some of them are just like very short, like 5-second loops. Some of them are like 1-minute shorts. But yeah, I've been working on putting sound to them. Like it's a very collaborative thing. So obviously, like he's creating the visual aspect. My partner is doing poetry to it, and I've been doing sound effects and music to it. So hopefully we have in the end like a whole range of different, little mini projects to share with the world.
That sounds like a good excuse to buy another synth module to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you thought about how you're going to distribute it?
No, we actually haven't. It kind of started out as just like a fun thing that we would do together. But it would be cool to, distribute it properly.
Because I mean, this also sounds like another website job, but also like it'd be really fun to like, because like if you think of like, sorry, I'm thinking of 50 things. I mean, another thing I've learned from my research into multidisciplinary stuff is that, weirdly enough, multiple disciplines, multiple different types of sensory art forms and that, weirdly makes everything in such more accessible. If you think about, and I'm going to talk about Paul Mac for a second. I apologize, Damian. I mean, as in like you did the visuals to this. There was a what was it? What's it called?
Which one? His flamenco one? The dance
Flamenco. It's flamenco.
Where
he sampled
he sampled people dancing in a flamenco class lesson.
Yeah, and the thing was that middle section was so weirdly avant-garde compared to your front end and your back end. But the visuals made it so much more accessible because you could see things that were happening. You're welcome, Damian. Plug. And all that sort of stuff. Like you can see correlations, but you can also see non-correlations, and questions are the counterpoint. But there was a lot of really interesting stuff, and I feel like, especially with music that's maybe not a rhythm-based EP or something that's Adele released an album. We should have Adele on the show, by the way. Like it would be a lot easier to consume, and like especially with an idea of a website, an idea of collaborating with an animator and collaborating with a poet such as Angus.
Yeah.
It would be so cool to have that shared in as big a way as possible, because there's no good way like getting avant-garde out there than in such a way.
Yeah, yeah. It could also be cool to have it like in a live setting, which
Ooh,
I know
yeah.
is something that like I don't know, it's hard to think about these days.
Yeah.
Do you mean that you would perform something live or semi?
Or would it be like a gallery context?
Maybe like a gallery context, yeah. Like it could be quite cool, like in like a space where you go over to one area and there's like a small projection of the animation, and when you're standing near that you can hear it, and you walk to another space.
There's
or project them on the MCA at Vivid Festival.
Yeah.
There you go. New big one.
Cool.
There's a
video mapping.
Yeah.
There's an art gallery in Newcastle. I'll get Gab to send you what the thing is, but they're quite accepting of emerging artists.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in Newcastle. Gab and I went to see a series of works by Victoria Pham and James Hazel. I forget what their collaborative work, the duo was called. Son and Bodies, maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they had a series of installations in this place, and it was really cool. And there were a bunch of video works and non-video works, and that, like 2 floors as well. So it'd be really cool to see a bunch of like subtle, like kind of fragile, really intimate, like smaller screens to like walk up to and experience.
Yeah, because that adds then a sculptural dimension as well to
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, solved. Okay, so
Yeah, done. Yeah, be sure to let me know what the.
Yep, I'll message Gab right now actually.
great. So it'd be great in coming months to see some drafts on the show, Sean, if you felt comfortable with sharing them, because here we are it's exciting to be at the real start of your process, and kind of to learn and kind of see how your brain is changing and how your approach is changing as we go through. That would be great to revisit. And
Yeah, definitely, because I feel like as well, like for me anyway, whenever I start something, I have a vision of it in my head, but by the end of it, it's completely different.
yeah.
So it'd be cool to track that process and like actually have like a record of the change.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah.
Awesome. And interesting that poetry keeps coming back for you too.
I know, it's strangely like it's something that I personally cannot do. Like I'd be terrible at it.
Same.
But I think I've got a few poets in my life.
But I want to be really, really, really transparent with you. Your show that you did for the festival we had earlier in the year with Lamorna, the Backstage Music did, which was at World Square, called Now You Hear Her, which is celebrating women in all sorts of different ways and art forms and different backgrounds. And so you had your own solo show and you played the piece, which you then reproduced in the sound server with the slide behind you there.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, as soon as I read as soon as I read, poetry plus electronics, I always go, oh, please be good. Please don't be like the same kind of, predictable crap that I've always heard over 1,000,000 times. That's me being jaded.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but it's not that everything you did was highly avant-garde, but it was very sensitive so that it all felt incorporated in a way that I realized when I see bad versions of that, they feel smashed together in cliched, obvious ways, but yours was so fluid. Was that because this was stories so close to your heart and your sister, you were able to collaborate better, or
Definitely.
you're just pure genius?
I think like having it be my sister's work and then also having the work be based off my mum's life, I felt this pressure to really do it justice. I would consult with my sister a lot and like share things with her, ask if she liked it. Didn't really consult with my mum about it very much, but I did like definitely feel a pressure to kind of do it justice. And
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So-
also maybe, you know, like your sister's not going to like, you know, run off and say, it's over, this project's over, you're sacked. You know, like you're
Yeah.
kind of stuck with each other.
yeah. But also I think it definitely helped that, like, I think she's an amazing writer, and a lot of her poetry was so emotional and, you
It was
know,
really direct. That's what I
Yeah.
really love about your sister's poetry. Is it's just so like knife.
Clean. So
That-
clean.
Not clean. Knife was I was trying to get the right word.
It's so
knife.
nice.
It's so knife. They're like sharp. It's really like direct. That's
Yeah.
the
Too
word.
much in the tactile world there, Liam. You can only describe things in tactile terms.
Yeah, I've diagnosed myself with research onset synesthesia.
All right, folks. Well, we're very quickly running out of time. Unbelievably, Lamorna, I hope you forgive me. We're probably going to be 5 minutes over. We've got Dio in here, and so let's bring him in and say hello. It's always lovely to see Dio.
He's all right.
I'll get him in here. He's joining. While we wait for Dio to come in, we're just going to do one really, really quick segment, which is this one. It's the Brian Fernyhough cooking show. And in the spirit... Hey, wait, Liam. In the spirit of like making stuff up as we go along and not knowing, you know, and not having finished things, this is a segment that we actually that I named and we don't know what it is. Okay, so just quick response. What could, and then in the last episode of this series, we're going to do the Brian Fernyhough cooking show based on the best suggestion. Any suggestions? Got anything?
Oh my god.
Anything?
I don't know.
Brian Fernyhough? Is it like...
I mean, when you told me this idea, firstly I said no. But the thing what I said after that was like, I feel like if you were to do like specifically a Brian Fernyhough cooking show, it would be like, because you know how he's so direct with his notation.
Yeah.
You'd want something in the oven for 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
Okay, there's
Right?
something in that. Yeah.
Because that would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Claire Edwards is in the chat. You guys are such nerds. Brian Fernyhough cooking show. What the? I agree, Claire.
Well, Claire, you can suggest what that might be, but that
Claire also says bone alphabet soup, of course.
Nice. Nice. Okay, good. All right, like moving on. Now, what is...
Dio has said, can Damian let me in?
I did let you in, Dio. It says join... Oh,
Let me in!
Admit. I let him in and then... There's two of him now. Oh, there he is. Dio.
Let me in!
Let me in. He's beating on his screen. Dio, how are you, mate? Oh, look, it's the travelling Dio. Where are you?
I'm in. I just bought a car, so I'm in Maroon.
Hey!
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Congrats.
Artists with money.
Yeah.
Wow, that's your monthly share.
No, it's,
The monthly
actually
share
was-
of the rent.
no, it was actually for my dad. Because
Oh.
everyone wanted this car, and I lived close to it. He's like, "Can you go pick it up, please?" And then I thought I was just gonna be watching the stream, so I just pulled over to somewhere nice. And then you were like, "Oh yeah, and Dio's gonna get on." I was like, "Oh, am I?"
You know, we're relaxed here. Anyway, look, it's really so we can say to your face, thank you very much for Hibernation, everyone. I'm just going to show us a few pics of the sound server while you're there, Dio. Sian and Liam and Dio did the lion's share of the work to make the sound server super quick. Everybody, what we did is I hired our own private Minecraft server for 3 months, and meanwhile we invited 14 artists to submit works, and we built bespoke performance spaces which turned into enormous sculptures for each of those sound works, some of them interactive, and it was the sort of thing we started going, I think this is going to be cool. I'm sure as we go through it we'll find out how cool it is. And in the end it was breathtaking and extraordinary and yes, fun and childish, but at the same time, extremely creative and just mind-blowing. I had so much fun with it. And we're going to continue to build on this. these are just slides of some of the different places. And as I was going back through the slides, I just went, oh, there was that place. Oh my God, and that place, and that place. Oh my God. So have you guys reflected just quickly, super quickly, just one sentence each on, your thoughts in hindsight, one sentence on, the post Hibernation sound server Minecraft world? Liam?
I'll never look at Minecraft the same way again. That's my one.
Yeah. Sian, what are your post sound server thoughts?
I honestly just think it was an extraordinarily unique way of exhibiting different types of art. It was just so impressive what everyone did.
Yep, and virtually no budget. You can make whatever you wanted. And Daya, what's your one sentence thoughts on the aftermath?
That's pretty much it. No, my sentence is, I loved it, but I was also happy to get some sleep afterwards.
Yeah.
It was a big project. That's very understandable.
It was a lot. There was a lot of hours. I think, you know how Minecraft servers, they measure how many hours you've actually been on. And at one point, Liam rang me up and said, mine has stopped counting in hours and now has started counting in days. And I'm up to 6 days. That's 6 days.
Damian.
Full days.
Damian, what's your one sentence?
My sentence is, it exceeded my expectations and my hopes were very high in the first place.
That's very nice of you.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I can't wait to do more. Like, it turned up so many new things, and literally not having a budget, you can just go, I'd like to build, an enormous beehive of glass. Sure, you can, and gravity's not a problem. All right, everybody. Okay, so look, I was going to do a share of mine, but I'm just going to give you the setup for my monthly share before we go on to our last segment. The setup for mine is I've been doing walking music, so I've been inspired by doing music that is walking with the actual performers in the bush to create the work. There was a bit of a setup for it earlier, speaking of having Lamorna and Claire in the audience, where with Ensemble Offspring, we did a piece in the bush at Bundanon, where my piece was, and also with the youth orchestra down there, the Shoalhaven Youth Orchestra. The idea for my piece was a piece of music that was a spell that brought all the dead trees spirits back to life to come and kill the audience. Okay, and we played the piece in the bush at night, and it was really when we were there in the landscape together that the piece really came together and made sense. And of course, having performers like Claire and Jason Noble and Lamorna meant that they kind of really embraced the piece. And it was one of the most awesome experiences for me in the last couple of years, apart from lockdown. And so I've been really inspired by walking in the bush in real life, in person, getting away from that 1960s vibe of being a white composer, sitting at home writing a piece called Uluru Dreaming, So I've got a major project on now with some wonderful players where we're doing bushwalks together. That was delayed, but I'm rescheduling them right now.
Good.
And
You
it's
haven't
going to
finished
be a
that yet?
film. No, it's going to be a film, which involves the players playing graphic sketches. Let me just show you my slides. And I'm going to do a thing which you guys can't see right now called light painting, where you go in the bush, use high exposure, and you use a torch to light the features in the bush that you want to show. And so it's a really evocative type of style of filming.
Sorry, I'm looking at the stream now. That's bloody incredible.
Yeah. So basically that was an exposure where I was moving, where I was holding the torch during the one shot. And I also did these graphic sketches with charcoal and sent them off. I made these creative care packages for the performers, which I sent to them. And we're going to get in workshops and do performances of these graphite charcoal scores that I made, where I give the players some pitch sets and then they improvise. So it is kind of this having a loose way, trying not to use notation, so that the shared experience walking in the bush can come out through the music and then into a film. So that's stay tuned for that one. All right. Okay. So
It's a
quickly,
big bloody project. I really look forward to see how it develops.
it's big,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
over the last 15 years, I've been accumulating all the equipment to do it. So even though normally this sort of thing is a huge budget, and there is a reasonable budget to pay the players, but the camera, the software, all of those things I have spent 15 years learning how to do. And it's kind of built to this moment where I'm able to do a holistic work that is fully integrated, you know?
Yeah.
So very good fun.
Well, I look forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, me
I can actually get in a room with the players in the coming 2 weeks to actually start workshopping the stuff.
Rock and
So,
roll.
yeah, next time I talk, I'll share who the players are because it's very interesting. Not all of them are improvisers, but I'm trying to learn ways to help them feel free to take materials and improvise with them. Yeah. Okay,
That'll be
so anyway, moving on. Our last little bit, because we have to do this because I took so long making this slide. You ready? Everybody, it's the last quick little... We won't do everything, Liam, that we planned.
Okay.
Okay, it is...
I am sitting in a room.
What a...
Alvin Lucier with Cat's Ears. And this one is dedicated to Alvin Lucier. Now, it looks like we're taking
What
a
a-
piss, but actually
That's
we
such
love
an intro
Alvin.
card.
Yeah, so Alvin Lucier with Cat's Ears, the idea of this segment is popular culture, streaming culture, memes, TikTok, where to us it looks like performances, modernist performances from the 1960s. So it's basically what we used to call experimentalism turning up in popular culture. I'm going to zip through mine first, all right? Let me just show you the slide for this.
Tuning forks, which of course are designed for medical use.
So
But
what I'm
also
showing is a
with me
video of a
is
guy talking about tuning forks.
for instruments, and
Okay.
those are designed in different.
What it
I
is
dislike this video.
Fred, he's an actor, and he does an hour of him doing what to me looks like a 1960s modernist performance with tuning forks and ASMR, right? He's got 600,000 views of him just playing tuning forks for an hour. And the funny thing is, all the way through, he looks like a real performer. He's kind of, hitting it like this and then moving it like this, like experimenting the way we would if we were an experimental performance. So do yourself a favor, people. Go and listen to Fred doing his hour of high quality medical grade tuning forks. All right, Liam, which one do you want to choose of yours before we finish up?
Share the man falls into pool for an hour.
Okay, here's the slide. It's falling into a pool for an hour. The slow-mo guys, too. It has 1.275 million views.
Yep.
Tell us about it. I'm playing the video.
So, so the slow mo guys are a YouTube channel. This is their second channel. I don't know how they have that many views on the second channel in the first place. But their core channel has like 15 million subscribers, and they are, I think, the biggest part-time YouTube channel. Like a lot of people like post full-time and they accumulate subscribers, but these guys don't post. They don't have a schedule. So it's obliteratingly mind-boggling to think that it's purely based on the aesthetic of things moving slowly.
Yep.
And seeing things is kind of like this kind of weird evolution from minimalism, where the more that you listen to something at the same time and it repeats, you kind of get this new experience out of it. But at the same time, we have temporal minimalism, where if you start to speed things up, you start to feel the downbeat differently. And when you slow it down, you start to feel like there's no downbeat at all.
Yep.
And this is just a 5-second clip that's been slowed down, I think, 1,000 times because they have the equipment to do so because they're bloody rich YouTubers.
Yeah, can I just point out, like, what people are seeing on stream right now is the video playing. Like, it's actually playing.
Slow.
It's just so slow. Now, the hilarious thing is, okay, yes, it hasn't got any of the beautiful sculptural design, but this is literally Bill Viola, the famous photographer Bill Viola and video artist who literally you walk in and he has slow-mo shots of people falling into water as his art. Anyway, I think it's wonderful. And so thank you to Alvin Lucier.
I am sitting in a room.
Thank you, Alvin. We love Alvin. He was a wonderful pioneer and such an inspiration. All right, so everybody, I'm sad to say that is the end of the first show. Our next show in 1 month's time is going to have possibly different hosts. We're going to have rotating hosts, but 100% every month we'll come back, we'll have guests, and we'll have everybody filling you in on our ongoing little adventures at home. Thank you so much for coming in. Good luck to your dad with his car, Dio. And I do think you look well slept, Dio. Now, Dio,
that's just because my camera's really bad quality.
Dio and I are going to come on in a couple of months' time and talk about our noise music album that we're currently working on too. So that's
have you not finished that yet?
Yeah, have we started it? All right. Well, thank you, Sean. That was fascinating. I cannot wait to hear about yours. And Liam, I cannot wait to talk to you about torque motors.
And thank you, Damian, for talking about what you're doing this new project with Walking in the Bush. And I mean, I helped you with some of the live streaming of the very, very early kind of trials of that. And to see how that's going to evolve is extraordinarily exciting.
There's been a lot of learning, so there's a lot to talk about. I think what we're going to do is, coming up next is all the backstage guests, artists and videos.
Which will be all great.
Don't go away, everybody, we've got that. But when we don't have that going on in future weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to have the hour show, and then we'll have the after show where we keep streaming and just talk about the stuff that we couldn't let go in the first hour. So stay tuned for that, everybody. And you'll be able to find these videos recapped and posted permanently on our Hibernation Festival site, which is www.hibernationfestival.com, where you can also see everything that we've streamed over 2 years, in excess of 150 streams.
Oh my God.
More than 150 artists. And now we're up to, nearly 6 months worth of streaming that we've done in the last 2 years. So well done, everybody. Great to chat with you. So much fun. Don't go away. I will be back with Lamorna Nightingale in about 3 minutes. So we'll see you very soon. Bye, everybody. Now, see you later from the Monthly Share.
See ya.
See ya.
All right. All right, here we are back again, and Lamorna's joined me now. We're into the next segment. That was a lot of fun, Lamorna.
It was. Well done. You were so professional, Damian. So impressed.
I can say that the software I am using here, this is the longest list of scenes that I've ever had to build. But it's actually very comfortable to use and quite flexible. So I'm enjoying this a lot.
Yeah.
And I am genuinely looking forward to hearing about what everybody's up to. And everybody's so interesting. Now I don't want to wait a month for the next one.
I know. You're going to want to do it tomorrow, aren't you?
And there's so many interesting people I know also, because of course, you know me, I don't do a lot of small talk sometimes. Sometimes we're into the big chats. You know, you and
Yep.
I are the same, right?
Yep. Long chats. So keeping you restricted to an hour was a challenge, wasn't it?
Well, I think we did pretty well, you know. We did chuck out a lot of stuff, but I think
Yep.
I thought you were about to say keeping me restricted to an hour. Whenever I ring you on the phone, is like
that's
you
true.
see my number, you go, all right, better carbo load first. But Lamorna,
Anyway, today we've got I'm so excited that we're doing this today. It's I got to a couple of weeks ago and we'd been talking about doing something like this for a long time.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks ago I was like, oh, I don't know. Everyone's over this kind of streaming stuff. I don't know. It's too hard. I can't be bothered. But I'm really pleased that you kind of pushed me on with it and that we're doing it. The reason that we got this up and happening was because it just felt like we've just been such a long time without being able to see people and to share our creative work. And I've spoken to heaps of people who are doing great things, have been doing great things all year, and many of their things have been cancelled, their performances have been cancelled, but they've kind of pushed on and made content anyway, and this felt like a great way of sharing some of the stuff that they've been doing. So we have Niki Johnson and we have Josie Macken coming along, and we've got Aviva Endean, and then after that we've got a little set that my husband Jim and I have been working on. Everybody knows Jim's my husband. Last year we commissioned some new pieces for us to play together for flute and saxophone. So we're going to talk to Rosalind Page and Kezia and Tristan Coelho, who have all written us beautiful new pieces that we recorded last week on our veranda.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I think we can get on. We can get on to our first video actually. The first one lined up is Unity, and it's Niki Johnson playing on her own. So let's have a listen to that, and then when we come back, we'll have Niki and Josie with us.
Okay, so that was Niki Johnson's Unity. Really, we're having fun time back here. We feel like we're backstage to the backstage, backstage, but we're also performing at the same time. Having lots of fun chatting here with Niki Johnson and Josie Macken. So Niki, tell us a bit about that piece. What inspired you to write it, and this whole kind of thing of you being a composer now?
I don't know if I'm a composer now, but yeah, I wanted to write myself a piece that was a little bit more strict than just improvising. I really enjoy just messing around as a solo percussion improvising, but I thought it would be an interesting exercise to give myself some really specific constraints or events and then improvising around them and create a work that was a combination of improvised and pre-composed elements. But I also just really wanted to explore the pitch relationships between those specific vases and lampshades and the vibraphone. So I thought it'd be nice to explore that with a bit of pre-composed notation and improvisation.
Yeah, right. So you've actually notated the whole thing, you were just saying?
I've notated like the structure, and there are marker points and specific events, but a lot of it is improvisation within certain constraints. A lot of the constraints are rhythm related and instrument related, but the material within that is improvised.
Right, so you're hoping that somebody else will play your piece, I presume.
I think it was mostly maybe for me to write down what I did, but also, yeah, sure, I'd love that. That'd be great. It would sound really different. It'd be really interesting. Yeah. I mean, my notation, leaves a lot to be desired, so it'll probably be a completely different work, whatever happens. So would need to work on the notation. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was interesting. What do I write down and what do I not write down, I think was most of the compositional process, because a lot of it was improvised, but I wanted to write down what I thought was the most important thing for me to specify.
Yeah. Did you at any point in composing, when you suddenly came to compose, feel kind of that your imagination and your technique were ever at odds? I have noticed in the past sometimes when performers write their own stuff, they sometimes feel a little bit contained by their technique, but you don't seem to have that problem in this piece. It seems very loose, like that's not a problem that you have.
I think probably because I composed it whilst improvising, so I didn't have the idea first and then try to play it after writing it. The two happened very much at the same time, so I wasn't creating something that I was out of my limits, or if something was a bit too out of my limits, I just changed it a little bit so that it was more doable. Oh,
but you're still aware of testing limits then when you're improvising. Yeah. Very interesting. I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, it's certainly got a playful quality to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of your improvisation does is that, I mean, even the instruments that you've selected, they look so beautiful and they sound lovely, and there's a lovely playfulness, I think, about those sounds and
yeah. Thanks. I think
so. Do you actually make those vases? I thought you maybe had got into ceramics as well.
Yeah, I've done some ceramic. I made some ceramic things, but those were actually, I think all of them were gifts from Solly Frank, who is notorious for saving things that are left on the side of the road to be picked up by council cleanup. And every time he finds something that's vaguely, percussion related, he's like, Niki, look what I found. And they're always like gold. So most of those were that, and the other was some kitchen bowls. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Can I also say, is that the room where you practice? Is that the room you practice in?
No, that's the living room of my parents' house. But I put everything out of the way, so it was like.
I was going to say lockdown's been pretty nice for you with that practice space and that view.
It was pretty good. It was pretty nice. Great sunsets.
Yeah. Now, the reason that we've got Josie here as well is because the second piece that we're going to share today is the piece that you guys worked on together at the Now You Hear Her festival in World Square earlier in the year. So maybe you and Josie can both talk to us about that process and what it is that you kind of ended up putting together for this little video.
Yeah,
Cool.
Josie, go.
So with this project, I'm traditionally a composer and occasionally have the great pleasure of improvising with a lot of very talented performers and composers and musicians. So approaching this project with Niki, I think initially it really came out of our desire to just meet up and play and to be able to indulge in what it was to share the same space with another human being. And we ended up rehearsing. We had maybe at least 3 or 4 rehearsals, maybe more, for this piece, which I think was a bit of a change of pace for us. We played a fair few gigs, kind of showing up and really leaning into the spontaneity of the setup that we have. But with this piece, there was a lot of
Is everyone else having a bit of trouble with Josie's sound?
Yeah, Josie, you were fine before. I wonder whether you could just either turn off any noise reduction you might have on, or just a bit closer. I think you were talking a bit more directly to your mic before.
Okay.
Do you have?
Is this better?
Do you have?
Yes.
Do you have? Yeah. Do you have the stream running at the same time? Maybe if you do, you can turn that on.
I don't. It could just be dodgy internet.
It's good now. It's good now.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah, with this work, there was a lot of pre-composition involved, which I think for us was quite new and kind of complicated our relationship to the work through improvisation in a way that hadn't been the case before.
Yeah. Cool. Is that my cue?
I think so.
Yeah, I think maybe because we had like a time limit, we were like 30 minutes. What are we going to do for 30 minutes? How would we present lots of different ideas and sort of like plan for those ideas instead of just like being totally improvised? But yeah, it did. I guess it complicated it, but I think it was also an interesting way for us to build a language with our specific instruments and forced into experimenting into different ideas instead of what potentially would have been more of a comfortable space if we had just improvised. It would have been perhaps a little bit less risky because we would do things that were more safe. So I think the process of like composing like a lot of it and then improvising some of it was a bit difficult, but then after we'd done the process of learning our piece and then discarding the piece and then playing it, it ended up being an interesting work, which is what it was the final full work that we recorded that was about 30 minutes. So the video playing today is a excerpt, 10 minutes of that. But yeah, I think it was complicated it when we were trying to follow the score, but when we threw away sticking to the score, we ended up following it and then had space for freedom as well. So
I suppose I don't mean complicate in necessarily a negative light. I think that there's a lot of value, certainly that I was finding in perhaps disrupting some of the processes involved in composition or in performance that we were both familiar with. You know, being able to disrupt that through collaboration was extremely fruitful in that process.
Yeah.
I was stage managing for the both of you for that performance, and one thing that I noticed is that you both seem to have a very easy chemistry and understanding of each other as performers and as creators. What is it? Is that something that you had when you first met each other? And what is it that why do you both have this sort of interest in these interesting kind of tactile sounds? What's the source of that artistic interest?
Do you want to go first, Josie?
Gosh, it's an interesting question. I've never really thought about that necessarily. I think that it's entirely possible that it was coincidental, or that maybe
you know, our mutual interest in each other's ideas and creative practices kind of pushed us to want to draw out the interesting qualities in what the other person was doing. I imagine that maybe it was something that transpired over the course of our knowing each other and playing together.
I suppose there's a reason that people become friends.
Yeah.
When you share so much in common and you connect so well, then of course you're going to become friends. And it's really it's so nice to be able to make music in this way, where you have the skills to be able to perform and improvise and create things. Then of course you're going to come up with some beautiful stuff. So yeah,
I think maybe that's the thing. It was friendship first, I guess, and then through the friendship we started making music too. So I think perhaps that's, and also our rehearsals are, you know, hangs, I would say, and then rehearsal as well. But it's like we got to block out a lot of time so we can do the hang as well. And I think that's important for our creating the energy of our creative space as well.
Even for the process of editing what you'll see of that particular performance, we intersperse that with dinner and various other things that came up, like, you know, even something as formal as making decisions about what to curate, then just ended up with us on Zoom for a couple of hours doing very little some
hanging
of the time.
out, drinking wine, and then writing a few notes.
I like the way you work. That sounds excellent. Forget walking in the
Claire
bush.
Claire and I were talking a little bit about this the other day, with how, you know, it's so important that when you're making this kind of art where you're not actually being paid very much, how it's really important that you make it with people that you like. It's got to be fun, or else, you know, why would you do it? Anyway, Damian, are you kind of all set to go? So
let's play that film now.
Piece.
Yep.
So it's called Music in Passing.
Now, also, I mean, we're going to say farewell to Niki and Josie after this, and when we come back, we'll have Aviva with us. So thank you very much for joining us for the all too brief chat. I like your idea of the 2 hours with wine. We'll do that next time. Anyway, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
And we're back.
Hi, everybody. So that was Music in Passing by Niki Johnson and Josie Macken. And we just had a really lovely chat with those two, including a little chat backstage while you were all listening to the piece of music. So I hope you enjoyed that a lot. And now we're welcoming Aviva Endean to our little backstage hibernation event. Hi, Aviva.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm calling in today from Gadigal country. I'm here in the Peggy Glanville Hicks house, which is really lovely. Behind me, there's a mural that Peggy painted when she lived here. This is her courtyard that shows some Grecian chariots, some horses and birds. And and just a visual ID for me. I've got brown hair and eyes and wearing a black coat and black beanie, all rugged up after some fun swimming and outdoor activities today.
Oh, outdoor activities.
I know, so much fun.
Oh my God, that's not fair.
It was all okay when I didn't have an excuse.
I did a couple of laps of Gons Bay this morning. I think I might still be recovering from the cold.
It is a really beautiful day out there still, isn't it? So hopefully some people have come in to watch what we're doing here, managed to drag themselves out of the Sydney weather. So Aviva, tell us a little bit about what it's been like being there in the Peggy house this year. I mean, obviously it hasn't been the most ideal kind of situation, but you've had a beautiful house to live in for the whole year, and I can see you've been doing lots of great projects. So maybe you can tell us a bit about what you've been doing.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know about this house, it's a beautiful gift that Peggy Glanville Hicks left to the future composers of Australia. So each year a different composer gets to live here for a year, to have the space and time to work on whatever they like, really. So I feel very privileged to have that opportunity this year. And I've kind of been working on a range of different projects. I guess the one that sort of feels like it's become front and center during this last period is a solo album, which I'm also working on recording myself, which is a bit of a new area for myself to sort of learn how to do the more producing side of things, but then also thinking about how that opens up different compositional possibilities, similarly to the set which I'll be sharing, but with different processes, but just I guess expanding out from what I really had ever done before, which is more or less single line composition, or thinking about, writing for bands, to then being able to think about broader textures and different kinds of density. So that's my solo project. And before the lockdown, I was really enjoying hosting some different collaborations in the house.
I came along to one of them. It was so fantastic what you're doing, and really fun.
Hope to be able to get back to that soon. I think actually we might be allowed to do such things quite soon, so that'll be fun. So I did manage to do 2 collaborations with Laura Altman and another one with Alexandra Spence. So we just spent 1 or 2 days working together, and then had a little house concert to sort of show wherever we were in that process. And actually recorded everything, so they might become little albums in and of themselves. But it was also just really lovely to be able to have a little space to share other people to come and share their music and what they're working on, and have some good conversations. I also hosted another couple of evenings which were workshops where I was testing out. In fact, I think that's the one you came to, Lamorna, where I was sort of workshopping a work in progress. So I shared one of those evenings with Jane Sheldon and another one with Jim Denley. So that was really great to have an opportunity to sort of actively ask for feedback from the audience when something's kind of in the sort of still developing stages. Definitely had some really, really interesting conversations here in this room around that. So I think that's the thing I've been really missing during the lockdown, like actually not getting that input from other minds. Getting slightly concerned that perhaps one can get too wrapped up in your own ways of thinking and listening. So it's kind of nice to be able to have this event, even if it's online, just to sort of feel like something escapes that echo chamber for a brief moment.
Yeah, that somebody's going to hear it, and there's certainly an opportunity for people to to communicate with you, I suppose, after this event, and let you know what they think.
Yeah. But actually, I wasn't here for all of the Sydney lockdown, and foolishly thought that I could escape in the hopes that I could actually go and do the gig where I was supposed to perform this piece. So the piece that I'm showing today was actually something I was working on for the Illuminate Festival, which was supposed to be happening in Adelaide. In fact, it did happen, a large part of it, but this particular event got cancelled. And I was already down in Victoria at that point, and rather than sort of just like letting the whole thing go, my partner Justin Marshall very kindly offered to film it for me, which was really wonderful, because it just gave me a little bit of that sense of something coming to some form of completion. It doesn't really feel like an end point, but just to have a little bit of a marker of where I was with that way of thinking about performing at that point in time, so that I could put it to the side and keep working on some other things. So this video, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that Jim and I felt kind of similar about our project, that we needed to finish it in some way, and then we could move on with other things. So that the little pieces that we're going to share after your set are the pieces that we've been working on for the last kind of 2 years. And yeah, it did feel like there needed to be some end point. So I can totally hear where you come from.
Well, I think that the thing that I realized is that when you have live performances and you're sort of working on a new setup or a new idea, you're sort of getting these little moments to have these little sharings and have a little bit of a reflection. It's kind of like a little, I don't know, like a little, not even a full stop, just a comma that sort of gives you a moment to pause and reflect and go, oh, okay, that's where I'm at with that idea or that technology or whatever it is at this point, and then I'll keep working on it, informed by that. But I think we've been really missing those little moments.
Yeah, the punctuation.
The little punctuation marks that are the gigs. So I just wanted to just do a big shout out to Justin Marshall for filming this so beautifully. And it's filmed on Jarrah Country in Castlemaine.
Fantastic. So this is Lost Things Reappear.
All right, we're back. Superb.
Thanks.
Wow.
Thanks for the comments as well.
Yeah, some nice comments there.
Hi, Emily. Emily Granger is in the chat there, and she was kind of around at Banff when I was.
Oh no! Oh, here you are. You're back. You're telling us about Emily.
Sorry, I'm getting like a doubling up of. There we go. I still have the Facebook stream going. It was like a memory of 5 seconds ago. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was just saying hi to Emily Granger because we were both in residence at Banff when I was first playing around with some of these ideas and borrowing gear from all the other musicians in residence. And so she was saying it makes her miss that time. It makes me miss it too.
Yeah. So how long have you been working on this kind of style, Aviva?
I kind of dappled with it when I was over there, and it was, but then I sort of, didn't really like return to it for a while, and then when I got this opportunity for this gig, I sort of thought that it was nice.
Right, so it's all been quite recent.
Revisit those ideas. Yeah. I don't know. Time is very elusive at the moment. I have no idea what happened when.
For some people, picking up new technological skills has been a factor of being in lockdown, but it feels like this is something you would pick up anyway, because you just seem to be really into it. Is that true?
Sorry, I missed the question. My internet connection is quite unstable.
That's all right. I'll just say it again. It's fine. It seems like a lot of people have been picking up new technological skills because of lockdown, but to me it just seems like these are things that you would have got into anyway. You just seem so kind of into it.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I was exploring before the pandemic, definitely. I think it kind of came more from a desire to sort of be able to record my own music, but also in terms of like compositionally being able to think about how to layer and transform sounds so that, like I mentioned before, sort of getting away from, as a wind player, sort of being stuck in the sort of single line, and just being able to play with, I guess, what is quite simple, really, of just being able to sort of build up layers or have multiple versions of things. But also, particularly with this setup, I think I'm quite interested in how sound material can kind of be transformed through the processes of going through some of those chains of effects, like sort of going from my live sound to it being recorded and sampled and being able to be triggered through the sample pads, and then, transform spatially through putting it through a delay, and, and then particularly things like putting it through a tape loop where the sound is then like completely transformed and gets this lo-fi quality. And I quite like that. It's sort of how it has a journey beyond your actual playing of the sound.
I'm a big fan of what you're doing there with having a lot of the sound, a lot of the modulations not being in the box, as it were, but that they're very analog. We can see how you're making the sounds. We can see the way they're being produced and influenced, which is very nice, because I do find fully computer-driven filters to be a little bit dull on stage. So it's really lovely to see that rock and roll kind of attitude to it all.
Yeah, I definitely I really like that kind of tactile quality myself as well. Also, just not just in terms of watching something as a performance, but also for myself, I find I can be much more playful within the sort of limitations of a particular piece of gear. And I think that that's something that I was sort of, I guess, missing a fair bit about the idea of sort of missed opportunity to perform this live, because I guess I was kind of interested in that those limitations, but at the same time I was interested to see how this kind of felt to perform, bringing all of that stuff to Adelaide, and whether I would pursue doing it like that, or whether I would pursue doing things with some hardware as well as some software, and kind of transferring some things over to work in a program like Ableton, and obviously the huge amount of things that would open up sonically. So I'm sort of still a little bit in a, I guess, position where I'm not quite sure where I want to go next with this. Maybe I'll have a bit more clarity after sharing it with you today.
Yeah. Do you think that it would have been different performing it live? Or,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there is something that really magic that happens in the kind of act of communally listening to something. And I think that particularly with a piece like this, where, you know, obviously the sound worlds are unfolding in a very sort of slow and, sort of mesmerizing way, I think that has a certain power in the live setting in terms of kind of like, I guess, bringing the audience into a similar kind of pace or mindset that you feel much more strongly in the live setting than we can in all of our different homes and the different things that we have going on around us.
It's a very intimate piece too, so there's a lot of drama in sharing that intimacy with real people in the room.
Yeah, I think I'm not. It just would have been really fascinating to have a go of doing that. And I think as well, when people are really open, like the festival context, I think is a really beautiful context, where I imagine at such a thing like Illuminate, you know, it would have been a lot of people coming who wouldn't have any clue who I am and are just coming to sort of have an experience of contemporary music. And there's something very generous about that act as well, I think.
Yeah, and when you make something, to film it, there feels a certain pressure of the permanence, doesn't there? Of this is it for, you know, for this moment anyway. This is the thing. This is the end thing. But the live performance is different. Yeah,
I think you really do feed off the audience, and it's sort of something that I've just become more and more aware of how important that is to me, having not had it. So,
yeah.
Lamorna, maybe Aviva had not worried about that yet.
Oh, no. Everyone worries about recording things.
No.
It's the curse of our age. But there is something beautiful about it too, because you can only ever be in the moment, can't you? And like that recording can only ever be what it is. It's just, and you will move on to the next recording or the next live performance, and it will be something different. And
yeah, and it is kind of interesting in this time to sort of try and understand what to do with all of this material that we're recording, because
that's right.
You know, I sort of have this thing now, and I don't think it's it doesn't feel like the full potential of what this idea could be yet. It's quite a beautifully made thing, like that, you know, I had the opportunity to film it quite nicely, and then sort of what to do with it. Like, do you put that on your Vimeo page? Is anyone ever going to watch it? Is that what you really want to do with it? Like, I don't know. I find that sort of thing quite confusing. Any advice?
Oh, look, I think pretty well put most things out there, and, you know, you can always take it down if you decide that you've got a better version, or
I do have one perspective on it, and it's relevant in that the film of mine that we're showing this evening, that is a process whereby I'm making a series of miniature films towards an ultimate show. And the idea is we don't really know what the show is yet, but we're making these little films. And so to me, I've just basically built filmmaking into the long-term artistic practice.
Great. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day, Aviva, you'll come and do a live stream in Hibernation Festival. What you're doing is perfect for live streaming. Have you done a live stream performance of this stuff?
No, I haven't actually gone down that path. The live stream thing, I think, I had some slightly stressful experiences with it as a curator when I was curating the Make It Up Club last year in Melbourne. We were doing it, and we ended up deciding to do that all as pre-recorded videos, just because it sort of seemed to have this like level of slight stress and unpredictability that perhaps we didn't want.
Well, that is fair enough. I mean, the only advantage to live stream.
We are deciding to do that on pre-recorded videos because it results in better quality audio. Yeah.
So as you were saying, a lot of that your stream was dropping out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Case in point.
I was just going to quickly say, the one of the only advantages that is, you know, that makes the stress worthwhile with live streams is the social media interactions, which we've found at Hibernation have been wonderful, but it is stressy. It's stressful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, I think probably we should get moving along, or else we could chat all day, Aviva. It's really fascinating chatting with you. So thank you so much for joining us here and sharing your beautiful work. It's been fantastic to watch and listen to it all your beautiful, delicate sounds. So
thank you.
So much.
Thanks for hosting, and I look forward to hearing from both of your works.
Fantastic. Thank you.
We did have planned to bring Jim in now. So, thank you, Aviva. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. You can toodle off. I'm sorry it's so quick and suddenly gone. So let's bring in James. We might as well bring in Kezia as well, huh, while we're at it.
Well, we're going to play Rosalind's piece first.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but if Kezia wants to join us, Kezia, you're here.
You're on live.
Kezia.
We're live.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jim.
You're live.
Hi there. Hi, Kezia. Damian.
Jim, you're the most experienced broadcaster here, so we should really hand over to you at this point in time.
Yeah, but I always work with a script.
And you can't always see the people that you're talking to.
No, I don't see the people I'm talking to. No, this feels more like teaching after the recent experiences than it does communicating.
Yeah. So, Jim, maybe you can talk for a little bit about our your birthday and what we decided to do for your birthday.
Well, it wasn't just our birthday. 2020 was a big year in the Nightingale household after 20 years of marriage, which is just coming up for 21 years next month. And also I turned 50. So when we couldn't do anything, we decided that we would try and come up with some idea. And we put it out there that we would like to commission some music for us to play together, and we solicited donations from friendly people who were incredibly generous, and then we approached three amazing composers: Rosalind Page, Kezia, who you can see here with us right now, and Tristan Coelho, who I assume we'll meet later, and they've brought us three amazing pieces that are very different, very, very different, which is great. That's what we wanted. And and then this lockdown, we finally got around to, this year we were thinking, things will just keep loosening up, and the opportunity will come along that we can play them together publicly in front of an audience or in front of a party of people at our house or something, and it just gets further and further away. So my 50th birthday party, which didn't happen, now my 51st birthday party hasn't happened. Here we are. We're just making do. But anyway, this is a really nice thing for us to do. So we didn't do the live stream performance. As Aviva was saying, it's pretty stressy, and we weren't quite sure what the technology was going to do. So we this time, though, last year was amazing for Hibernation Festival 1. And so we recorded earlier this week the three pieces, and Lamorna's put them together as packages to share with everyone today. So are we going to the first one now? Do you want me to do the full radio announcement?
Oh yeah, do the full radio back and out the forward announce.
So the first piece we have is called Floresco's by Rosalind Page, and it's a piece which she brought together using some excerpts from pieces of Rosalind's that Lamorna had played before, and Lamorna suggested that they would sound good in this kind of setting, and she also combined it with a rumba, to give the party atmosphere. So anyway, let's hear Floresco's by Rosalind Page. That was Floresco's by Rosalind Page, featuring Lamorna Nightingale alto flute and James Nightingale baritone saxophone. One of the things about the project that we did want to do was have baritone saxophones relatively new to me, so it was really nice that we had two of the pieces using the baritone saxophone, which is an instrument which is just quite amazing because it has just so many different sound qualities. And while you might have heard some loud and low notes in Rosalind's piece, Kezia's piece is completely different, isn't it, Kezia?
Yeah.
Hi, Kezia.
Hello.
Unfortunately, Rosalind couldn't join us because of her internet problems. She lives down in near Barrel,
Berry.
I think. Berry. So, Berry, Barrel, BBP. Anyway, she doesn't have strong enough internet to be able to join us. But we do have Kezia here because Kezia is in Melbourne.
Yay!
Hey, Melbourne!
Melbourne. But at least we're coming out. We've got a date now to come out of lockdown, which is very exciting.
Oh.
So we'll be joining you Sydney-siders soon in long-awaited freedom.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
You guys moved down there pretty well on the day before the pandemic, didn't you?
Oh, well, we moved down probably a bit over 2 years ago. So we had a nice kind of 6 months getting to know the place, exploring Melbourne, and then we were just straight into lockdown after lockdown after lockdown. So
yeah,
looking forward to getting out and about and then getting to experience it a bit more is going to be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kezia, yeah, as Jim was saying, you decided that you were going to write for the baritone saxophone and bass flute. What was it that attracted you to writing for those instruments, do you think?
Oh, I think it's just, well, the first thing is the size, to be quite honest. I think it's just really exciting, the size of the instruments and the possibilities of sound that you have because of the size. And I just thought it'd be a really fun combo. So actually the piece can be played on any combination of flute and saxophone. So if you do want to mix it up, you can. I guess in the future, if you've got time and you feel like giving it another go on a different instrument, I think it's really exciting, the potential that it has to find new sounds and to create different experiences and sonic experiences.
Well, in that respect, it could have been played on almost any combination of instruments, really, because it is asking you to find a certain number of sounds and rotate them, overlap them, as the title kind of evokes it really, really beautifully. So it's called As We Unfold.
Yes. Sorry.
And we're back, everybody.
Wow, now we've really got too many people all, trying to be polite to each other and not talk over the top of each other. Anyway, that was As We Unfold by Kezia Yap, who's here in the space with us still. So, Kezia, tell everybody about how you kind of conceived of this piece and the kind of process of writing it.
Sure. So I guess the piece came, when Jim and Lamorna asked me to write a piece for them to celebrate their anniversary and Jim's birthday, I really wanted to write a piece that was able to explore their relationship as people and as musicians. And one of the things that I was also interested leading up to this piece was having a look at how we can use breath. So I had been previously working a lot with Hannah Reardon-Smith, who was up in Brisbane on a piece that we've collaboratively written together.
And Hannah's another fab flute player.
Yeah. And we were working together on how we could make sounds through kind of contorting the body in kind of like yoga shapes, and rather than controlling the breath in a really kind of trained musical way, trying to control the breath through kind of a more physical, more bodily way. So that kind of got me thinking about how breath is such like an intimate and intrinsically human element that we bring into music, and how so much music is really shaped, or like how breath and music is really shaped about, and how it really fitted to the music that we're playing. So I thought, why don't we kind of think about breath at the forefront and let the breath lead the music. And I thought it was also a really nice way to explore how your breaths phase in and out with each other, and kind of bringing that to the audience through noise and or sound, whichever you want to call it, and the way that those sounds interact as well. So yeah, that's kind of the piece in a nutshell, if that made any sense at all. A lot of my crazy ramblings.
Totally. I mean, I thought it was really beautiful playing this piece with Jim, because we had to be so observant of each other, and so that we could stay connected with the piece, so that the breaths did as they were meant to do. Again, there's that kind of intimacy, that thing that we kind of keep coming back to today, the intimacy of the sound and the intimacy of the performance and the connection between the performers. And so it was very beautiful to play and to develop together with you, actually, because we worked quite collaboratively on bringing this piece to life. Yeah.
I think I came in with some wild ideas in the beginning, and sitting in your kind of beautiful music room, is that what you're calling, if you call that space? And I came in with all these wild ideas of, let's just go with breathing and like however you want to breathe. And it got me thinking, because I'm not a wind player at all. I'm like, I don't know how to think about breath as a wind player and how much thought goes into it. So it was really eye-opening for me. It was a really good experience to think more intricately about how do we think about breath, and how do we think about making sound with breath as well. So we did go back and forth a little bit, switching up the structures, playing around with different multiphonics, and yeah, it is what it is.
Notations too, actually.
Yeah, notation, yeah. Trying out different ways of trying to get all these ideas onto paper that made sense.
Yeah. And and so then the next piece that we've got is by Tristan, and it's very different in style. Tristan, you want to talk about it before we play it, or like give people a kind of a warm up, or play it first?
Oh, we can listen to it first, maybe. I mean, I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe one thing to mention, similar to Kezia's point, was the fact that it was Jim's birthday, a celebration of that, also your wedding anniversary. That was very much at the forefront of my thinking for the piece. So, it's written obviously with you guys in mind, and I wanted to write a joyous, fun, upbeat kind of piece, really. That was my sort of guiding sort of thought process. And and similar to Kezia too, like, you know, I walked in, I remember, with some sketches and some ideas, and I quickly realized, oh, actually, maybe this won't work so well. So I sort of squirreled away and sort of got to reshaping the piece and reforming the piece. And now it's sort of come together, and it's a beautiful performance that you guys did. So I'm really, really happy with what you did.
And what does the title mean, Tristan?
Oh, the title.
Spoken about the title.
The title's a funny one. I guess for me, it just like is representative of good times. In my mind, it was just like a catchy title that was fun, and I think had a warm warm imagery for me. You know, I almost sort of like rolling into a city at sunset, and not quite knowing how the evening will unfold, and the excitement of that. And so, yeah, it's called Neon Lights. It's called Sunset Neon Lights, this piece. And I guess the other thought was to, you know, like neon lights, very sort of bold and sort of in your face. And, you know, I think we should get some in this house, actually. I've been meaning to put some on this wall. I don't know, they just seem like such a fun thing to have in your house. And I think that a lot of the music in this piece is quite sort of upfront and kind of bold, and a lot of it's in unison, the two of you together. And there are other moments, which is, I guess, a bit more like a dappled sunset of sorts, where it's like interwoven parts and it's more nuanced and colourful, especially in the middle section of the piece. So, yeah, first and foremost, it's supposed to be kind of a punchy, upbeat number, I guess. And the other thing, I remember having conversations with Jim about musical preferences, you know, over the years. And I remember he would express his thoughts on like just mainstream jazz on occasion. and I thought that was like just fascinating, and I enjoy those conversations. And so there's a bit of a nod to that maybe in the piece, you know, like just some of the rhythmic language, improvisatory kind of sensibility to it. Maybe not necessarily swung, but just sort of, I guess, has leanings towards some of those sounds as a nod to. That's for you, Jim.
Well, it has a sophisticated syncopation, which I think is in my life as a saxophone teacher, we play a lot of syncopated music. A lot of it doesn't is a bit sort of hackneyed. This piece isn't. This is really it's stunning. I think it's just. I think it just sort of leaps out of the page. It makes you want to play it, and I can't wait to hear what people think about it. You know, it's complete opposite to Kezia's piece, which is also an amazing piece of music with a huge aesthetic kind of such a deep aesthetic thought behind the what end up in the end being relatively simple musical processes, but really, you know, really great. It's sophisticated, and I think there's an element of that in your piece too, which is why I like it, because it has an immediacy, but it also has this other level to it, and that also comes through from the way you worked on it, because you know you had some initial ideas when we came over to your place and played a little bit, and then you sent us some scores when we practiced those, and then you came over and listened to those, and you didn't like it.
It was more my notes. I didn't like my notes. The playing was always, just for the record.
Oh yeah. No, that's what I mean. You didn't like your own piece.
No.
So the way that we played your piece, it just didn't happen.
But that was the thing. What was really incredible was that Tristan came away, took it away, and we didn't need to tell him what was wrong with the piece. We didn't know what was wrong with the piece, but he knew, and that's and he was able to fix it, and make it into the thing which it is, which I'm hoping everyone's going to enjoy. Sunset Neon Lights for alto flute and tenor saxophone. Go, Damian.
Is this the head of the tune again?
Yeah, we're back again now.
Oh, oh sorry.
Oh, we were so professional before.
Sorry, I thought when you said we're back, like as in, oh, the music's coming back to.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like jazz now, Jim?
Well, no, I like that piece. I think that piece is a winner. I think people are going to play it all around the world once it gets out there. Anyway, I think it's got something that saxophone players want to do. So anyway, it's
great.
It's exciting.
It's a birthday present.
Yeah, all three pieces have been really fantastic birthday anniversary gift, and we should thank everybody who contributed to making it
You're
happen.
welcome.
Absolutely. We are incredibly grateful to everyone who gave us, who helped us along the way to commission three pieces.
So Catherine Kemp, my wife Catherine Kemp, and I both turn 50 and have a 25-year anniversary next year. What should we do? What should we do?
Commission 3 new works for you to play together.
Do you think Catherine and I should start singing again? We should come out of retirement.
Oh, you don't need to sing. There are many things you could do.
Well, that was our first instrument, singing. So
yeah, I know. But, anyway, we have
nice one, Tristan.
We have 3 minutes left in our official timing.
Yeah, we've done well.
We've caught up a little bit of time, which is really great. So thank you, Tristan, for your beautiful piece and for chatting to us today. And thanks, Jim.
No problem.
I'll see you in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, she's just in the next room. Yep.
And so we might say goodbye to those guys. And
goodbye.
Then
See you later.
Thanks,
See you later.
See you later. And it's just left with us, and Damian's going to tell you all about the piece that we're going to use as a play out.
Yeah, well, this final piece is a film that I made with Sonia Lifshitz, and she and I have been making a series of little films. And the idea is that we want to make a show, but we don't know what the show is. We have a working title, which is Autobiography of a Piano. At one point, we did send out a proposal where the title was slightly different, and I did ask people's advice on this title, though I'm going to change it. At one point, it was called She Touches Me, but Not in the Way I Want, an autobiography of a piano. But we felt...
Yeah, I like it.
It's catchy, but we felt that it made it look maybe a little bit too like a comedy, whereas it should be a bit more, yes, comedic, but then at other times more harrowing, perhaps. Anyway, the thing about Sonia is she loves doing interesting stuff. She is an extremely striking and committed performer. And so what I'm trying to do is to find sculptural ways for her to be on stage using the piano. But she is she likes learning notes, and she likes to do things in a very particular way. So I'm also trying to create situations for her where she gets to, if you like, be meticulous. In fact, the piece kind of becomes somewhat about that obsessive, meticulous quality that a lot of musicians bring to their instruments, which sometimes, causes us to become physically deformed or injured through playing our instrument. So there's a little bit of that sort of vibe, although this one is a lot more friendly. It's called Scrolling Music. And, as we come to the end of our lockdowns, can I also present it as a tribute to everyone and say, this is all about, even when we're stuck in those loops and loops and loops and loops of not knowing what to do with ourselves, our creativity still comes out and will not be destroyed. All right, so enjoy it. Thanks, Lamorna, for hanging out. We won't be back, everybody. Did you want to say a quick goodbye to everybody?
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you, Damian, for looking after all the tech with this. And who else is behind the scenes that we should be thanking?
Liam was a massive help. Dio, Lachlan, Sian, Maddie, and thank you too to Liz Jiglin, who also helped with the original concept of this. So thank you to all those people. We'll be back soon next month for another episode of something. And hopefully, Lamorna, you and I will be back with something soon. This is like the second thing we've done this year together.
I know, going off.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Thanks.